Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Back on with us is Katrina Glogowski. She is an angel investor and attorney, which is perfect for today's topic. We're going to talk about the potential pitfalls and legal compliance as it pertains to marketing, and then specifically with cannabis cosmetics. So Katrina, thanks for being back with us.
Good morning, Josh.
So we talked about some snake oil stuff in the podcast before, hot dog water, but what we're talking about now is a recent search for CBD and cosmetics on Amazon, which yielded nearly 2,000 products. CBD and beauty products resulted in more than 7,000. And then looking for CBD and anxiety came up with over 4,000 hits. So a brief review. They revealed some questionable marketing claims that are likely violating applicable regulations. For example, various CBD products were accompanied by claims that they treat psoriasis, hemorrhoids, that they relieve inflammation, promote better brain function, and even cure erectile dysfunction. And so with the FDA sending out those warning letters initially to 10 no-name companies, on the list recently is Charlotte's Web. And so that actually finally made the news. So a big company, but Bartell's and CVS, Walgreens, none of them have done anything about it. And I haven't even heard a rebuttal from Charlotte's Web yet. But what are your implications? Where do you think this is going to go?
From a regulatory perspective, the FDA has consistently and repeatedly said CBD is not okay in food, and CBD is not okay in cosmetics, and CBD is not okay for pets, and CBD is not a dietary supplement. So this is not a surprise to the regulators. I do think that the massive popularity of CBD has forced the FDA to take these enforcement actions. And if you are dumb enough to say my product cures cancer, you should not be in this industry anyway. I am concerned, however, about Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web is a highly reputable organization. They are not saying my product cures cancer. They are very careful, and that class action litigation filed in California against Charlotte's Web on November 27th is going to really give the industry a guideline. Charlotte's Web is saying we're not making any of these illegal claims. They did file a response, not a court response, but a press release response to the class action litigation, saying we're in compliance with the FDA. We don't say it cures cancer or hemorrhoids. We're just like, here you go, it's a cream. But Charlotte's Web is established, reputable, and it's going to be interesting to see how that case goes. And maybe the FDA will finally take an action that somebody can deal with outside of saying no CBD at all when it's on the shelf at the grocery store. The FDA can't continue to straddle the line. And the Charlotte's Web litigation out of California will be educational for everyone.
It could be a huge, major push forward at taking an analogy with Harborside. That lawsuit went for a long time, but Steve D'Angelo ended up just posting a drive-through. And so Harborside now has a drive-through. So with all the legality and issues that they've had, they've been able to move forward. They filed an IPO. And so a couple of steps back, a few years later, they were able to have a drive-through. What might not be so straightforward, though, is who controls what. So you kind of briefly mentioned a few things. And so I'm going to touch on a little bit deeper dive with this Marijuana Venture article that says that even if not marketed as a drug, if products are marketed to treat medical conditions or promote health benefits, they may be considered drugs by the FDA. Any claim that a product may have a role in the treatment or diagnosis of disease or is intended to affect the structure or function of the human or animal body is a health claim subject to FDA regulations, unless it falls within the narrow exceptions of the Dietary Supplement and Health Act. The FDA has determined that CBD does not fall within those exceptions. So if CBD products is marketed to affect the structure or function of the body, or to diagnose, cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent disease, it may be considered both cosmetic and drug, and therefore must comply with the prescriptions of both FDA and the Food Drug Cosmetic Act.
This is what we're seeing with some of these cease and desist letters. Again, don't say any product cures cancer. I mean, if that passes your legal department scrutiny, fire your lawyer.
How about all other products, though, that are saying, that you have sativa hybrid indica, and each one has its own claim? So it's uplifting, it's energetic, it's sleepy time. Isn't that a claim too, to say that something makes you sleepy?
This is where lawyers have a field day. So let's say you have a CBD infused lotion that is marketed as a moisturizer. There's nothing wrong with saying it's a moisturizer. It is, in fact, an emollient. There's probably some coconut oil in there, almond oil, something along those lines that meets those claims. Take that exact same hand lotion and say it has been clinically shown to alleviate eczema or psoriasis, and you have a problem. So it's just wording your product carefully. And we've also seen, sort of, if you remember the spice and the K2, they just said, hey, it's a bath salt. It's a potpourri. What you do with it is up to you. And if you are hell-bent on marketing your CBD product for human consumption right now, you just need to say, contains CBD. Don't say it's going to make you fall asleep. Don't say it's going to treat insomnia. Now, contrast that with the cannabis market. The cannabis market is not subject to the FDA outside of these crazy claims. So if you say Blue Dream has a tendency to increase your ability to sleep, nothing wrong with that. You're not saying Blue Dream treats insomnia.
Well, so there's three kind of major ways that people are circumnavigating these rules, right? You can have the medical markets, which don't have any regulation. You can go to regulated markets, and then eventually there's going to be the legal market. The legal market, being CBD right now, kind of crosses over all of those. And so we're seeing massive opportunities where people are just jumping in that have no business. One of those is a Real Housewives of Orange County. They had a CBD product that had 500 and some odd milligrams. And when tested, they had 2 milligrams. That's trace amounts. And so there should be some litigation behind that, right? False claims, just even having a number on there when it's not. And I don't know. I mean, I think even with some of these valuations, there were $420 million valuations for companies. And the moment that there's a downturn, that's just going to turn into a lawsuit. So anticipating some of these false claims, is that going to lead to, a class action?
You've brought up 2 different points. The first is, if they list the ingredients on the bottle or the package, the ingredients have to be in there. That's fundamental, and that's false advertising. And these CBD products are very expensive. It's not like you're getting a $2 chapstick. These are fairly pricey items, and the reason you're buying it is for the CBD. And if it has 750 milligrams of CBD in it, it had better test that. But that is not the FDA. That is the Consumer Protection Bureau, and that is exposing your company to liability. Same thing if you put coconut oil in a hand cream instead of almond oil and try and shortchange the consumer. You need to be careful of what you are labeling your product as. But the second piece, and the more concerning piece for the FDA, is, where are you getting this oil that you're infusing your face cream with? Does it have heavy metals? Does it have pesticides? And if you are a company that is just dumping random CBD oil into your face cream, you need to ask yourself, what's in it? Why would anybody put mercury or lead on their face? It's dumb. Why would you ever put fungicides on your face? And this, Josh, I think is more indicative of fast money. They want to come in the market. They see they can sell a jar of face cream for $50, put a drop of CBD in it that they haven't sourced appropriately because they want to make the money. And that's where the FDA really is concerned. And you don't really see that in the legal cannabis market. For example, if you're going to take a 1-1 capsule of THC and CBD, because the legal cannabis market requires these tests to be performed. The second element is just don't say dumb things. Don't say organic. Don't say certified pure, because these designations don't exist. And if you want to stay out of trouble from the FDA, just put on your package moisturizer. Nothing more. Just it's a moisturizer. And make sure your product is clean. And if you put 50 milligrams on the box, there better be 50 milligrams in there. But we've seen this before. Remember the whole Taco Bell beef taco only contained 35% beef. So this is just consumer industry attacking what they see as, number one, fraud. But number two, these companies are making enough money that the lawyers and the consumers can actually profit from some of these claims. Mm-hmm. And that's what really concerns me about Charlotte's Web. That I can understand something you got at the Quickie Mart in a black and white box, but attacking Charlotte's Web is going to be an interesting play, again, because of their reputation.
You might weed out a lot of those companies that otherwise shouldn't be in business. This article kind of wraps this up by saying that companies shouldn't allow the huge amounts of potential profit and their relative ease of internet marketing sales to detract from planning a carefully crafted and legally compliant marketing campaign and business too. If you know that there's only trace amounts, you have no business selling it. So hopefully it doesn't give the overall industry a bad rap. They'll be able to see through that with. It's going to create new brands that are based on reputation and people that are responsible. And what I saw online kind of resonated with me, that these companies that aren't really holistic and backed by the plant, and I'm referring to High Time specifically, they were really all about money and partying. They didn't care about patients and advocates or anything like that. And so I really think that when it boils down to it, it's going to take a massive amount of passion to survive in this industry. And if you don't have a war chest and you aren't passionate, you aren't going to survive.
Agreed. But that's not unique to the cannabis industry, nor is it unique to the CBD industry. If you want to make a new soda, good luck. You would better have a business plan. You better have funding. And God help you if you put tainted sweetener in your soda. This is just basic business. I don't understand why people can't extrapolate basic business into cannabis and CBD.
It's exciting. It's new, and this is the first time. And so there's nothing new about these failures. If we talked about the restaurant industry with 8.5 out of 10 failing all of the time, that could have its own business podcast about restaurant failures. That's just, there's more failures than successes. But being brand new, we kind of expected with all of the money that it would survive. And it's like, it's not a weed. It doesn't just grow. You need standard operating procedures. You need to look at automation and scaling and just surviving in a landscape that's not legal. You don't have banking. You can't advertise properly. So many hurdles and restrictions and things that people aren't really planning on, with new rules and regulations smacking them in the face. It's hard for a lot of these companies to survive and stay relevant.
And survive compliantly.
Mm-hmm. A lot of solid advice, though. If anybody's listening, they might be able to survive another day. Yeah. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. I want to thank Katrina Glogowski. She is an angel investor and attorney. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.
I am Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out. By the way, if you enjoy the content, please show your support with the cushy gesture of $4.20 a month on the Talking Hedges Patreon page. This will kind of help me spread the word. I've been asked to speak all over the world, from Toronto and Colombia, Spain, Miami, all over, Tokyo. But your support's important to me. I haven't monetized the podcast. I want to be as authentic and transparent as possible. I want to avoid conflicts of interest, or even the perception of paid opinions. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or pay me on the Talking Hedges Patreon page, or don't, and I'm out.